This is Natalie Pace, and today we're going to talk about the SpaceX IPO. Everybody is so excited about it, and it will be publicly traded on June 12th. So today is May 27th, and that means that they're going to be starting their roadshow next week. That's when we'll know whether or not they're going to be able to maintain that expected $1.75 to $2 trillion valuation, what the price is going to be, and all of that. So I will be updating both in the comments section of my blog, nataliepace.com/blog. There is a SpaceX blog there that you definitely want to read because these are some of the questions we want to ask. Should you buy it at the IPO, or are you going to just be buying high? There is a risk whenever we have investors, institutional investors. Some of them have been around for 25 years investing in SpaceX. They've only had 1 year of cash positive. So a lot of these investors are really looking to turn some of their paper profits and their paper wealth into real cash. You don't want that to be at your expense. At the same time, a lot of people really want to own this. I'm just wondering as well, and we'll be monitoring this as well. Will it show up in some of our hot slices? So if you've been to my retreat, you know that we like certain targeted ETFs that are targeted towards artificial intelligence or breakthrough technology, both of which SpaceX could easily be a part of those funds. So you may actually be able to own it without any additional purchases. And again, you might want to have it on a stock shopping list in case there is a lot of volatility on that first day or the first week of trading because of the amount of people who really do want to be selling. So again, we have a lot of Main Street and retail investor interest in buying, and probably a lot of institutional interest. If they've been holding SpaceX stock for decades, they may wish to sell a portion of that, especially at this very lofty valuation. So we'll be digging into all that and more as we go deeper into this video conference, and we'll get started in just a moment. Remember, you can share it with your friends, youtube.com/Natalie Pace. It's free, and you should subscribe there so that you're always notified whenever I have a new video conference, which is at least once a month, but oftentimes more frequent than that. First of all, let me show you how to get to the blog so that you can go in and read it at your leisure. Again, it's going to be nataliepace.com/blog. And this is the first blog that's going to show up as long as you're doing it pretty close to its publication date, which was today or a few days ago. If you are managing to get to it after the publication date, sometimes I'll have a new blog up there. And if you can't find it easily, just send an email. info@nataliepace.com, and we'll send you a link. But I also always list the prior blogs at the end of each blog to make it easy for you, right? So if you just did a search on SpaceX, you would find it. Or if you just scroll down to the end of whatever blog you see, which comes up, you'll see a complete list of the most recent blogs. So that's a couple of ways that you can do it. But a couple of the things, I just want to show you what we're going to be going through. These are the topics that I cover. The Elon Musk premium, the qualities of a successful IPO, a deeper dive into the board and management. Let's just start with those three. So the first thing that you should be realizing is that there is an Elon Musk premium, right? Right now, Tesla is trading at a multiple of probably 200 price earnings ratio. We can get the exact one. The company made about less than $5 billion in net income last year. And the last time I checked, it was still worth $1.5 trillion. So that's a very lofty valuation. And SpaceX is coming in at a very lofty valuation for a company that has really been cash negative for 24 out of 25 years. So that's one thing, is that if you think about the buy low, sell high continuum, you are buying high. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, I want to jump in, but with stocks are publicly traded in a nanosecond, right? So sometimes macro considerations can take it down. Sometimes there's more people that are trying to sell. Again, those institutional investors, they're still going to have some game on with SpaceX, but they can take some of their profits now. So never hurts to have a stock shopping list. So realize that you are buying high, hoping to that it's going to increase in value. But there sometimes can be other opportunities that pull the price down, even though SpaceX is going to be a great or is already a great company. It's a game changer in many ways. So let's take a look at that. In terms of the products that SpaceX is offering, they're really great. They're strong. It's an outstanding product in the rockets division. It's an outstanding product in the Starlink division. I use Grok, so I really like their AI as well. In terms of sales growth, it's not impressive. It's only 15.4% year over year. That's not impressive. Now, if they are able to monetize the new Anthropic deal, that could be worth $15 billion a year in revenue. So that will be very helpful to SpaceX's revenue. Now, there's one other thing is I want to show you that I am actually linking to the S1 filing. That's the only way that you're really going to be able to see all of the data that I am that I'm talking to you about. So right there where it says S1 filing, if you click on that, it's going to take you to the form that they filed with the SEC. It's a very long and wieldy form, so it might be easier and more efficacious for you to read my blog first so that you understand how to actually apply the data rather than just reading what they're telling you about it. But in terms of a successful IPO, you can see that in my evaluation tool that has proven to be quite successful, there are a couple of concerns that I have in red and here. And then a lot of things that they're doing right. They have a diversified revenue stream. Their Starlink is the one that they're really counting on to generate revenue, but the AI portion with Anthropic deal could as well, and their cloud computing. I already mentioned that SpaceX has been cash negative, so that's something that is troublesome. However, a $75 billion infusion of cash from the IPO will help them to hopefully get to that pathway of profitability. It certainly gives them enough runway. Right now, they do not have enough money without that capital raise. So, of course, that was important for them to do. Now, they have an experienced executive team. Elon Musk is, as Peter Thiel would say, never bet against Elon Musk. But the president and COO and the CFO are all experienced executives as well. The reason I have any red at all there is that their board is made up primarily of people, Wall Street professionals. So it's all the people that have loaned them money. That is a little bit of a problem. Because you really want different skill sets. If they're going to be a $2 trillion company, they need other skill sets on the board than just people who know how to loan money and get their money back, right? So that is a negative. And that's something that also tells us that these guys probably, and they are men, mostly on their board. I think it may be all men, with the exception of, I think the COO who is a female, is on the board too. And their earnings report was actually fairly easy to read, and that's actually a positive sign. So again, you can read more about this. Also, the challenges and opportunities of space exploration. I think the biggest thing to know about this is that SpaceX is the leader by far. I mean, we don't have to go back that far when Boeing actually had to abandon astronauts on the space station and SpaceX picked them up and brought them home. But they are responsible for over 80% of the launches right now. And they've been very, very consistent. They have a very good track record. They were responsible for the breakthrough. Before, you had the rocket boosters that fell into the ocean and it was a single use thing. That was a loss of multi-millions of dollars. every launch. And they were the first ones to innovate, recapturing that. So that's a game changer. They clearly are capable of technological breakthroughs that, the industry should have had before they came along. But, we had decades of single-use rocket boosters. So what else can SpaceX dream up with their amazing brain trust that was able to do this game changer? So I do think that they are very, very strong in their products, and Starlink was a game changer. But there are some challenges, right? So let's take a quick look at that. So Virgin Orbit filed for bankruptcy. Other things that happen are that it just gets a little crowded up there. Like part of the thing that SpaceX does is launch satellites. And that requires a lot of regulatory approval because it's very crowded up there. With regard to their Starlink, which is great, especially for dead zones, Wi-Fi dead zones. So they have satellite Wi-Fi to mobile phones, which is amazing for all kinds of applications, even oil rigs. And of course, obviously, governments are going to want to use it. But when you have so much hardware already in space, you can even space collisions can be a little bit of a challenge, right? So again, a lot of these I took from their own S1 filing. These are some of the ways that they could be a game changer for field offices, remote work sites, etc. But, they are obviously have various things that could stand in the way. They have to have everything is highly regulated by the FCC and the frequency bandwidth. Competition, China and Russia hope to compete with broadband constellations as well. Now, AI, again, the big change with that is that obviously the opportunities are amazing. And one thing that is exciting about SpaceX is that they have found a way to do cloud computing in space, and they even think that they need to do energy generation in space. So they're planning on putting data centers in space. They have already asked for and begun the regulatory process to do that. That's a game changer. That's a breakthrough, right? They don't think that we're going to be able to supply all the energy on Earth. And of course, the sun is a great source of energy. So it's a smart move. And that's kind of what Elon Musk is known for. He is known for, really understanding game-changing things, right? That he's great at that. So I think that in general, the products are great. The valuation is a huge concern. I do recommend that you read that. The macro considerations there is mostly competition and all the things that we already talked about. But should you buy now? So again, this is where I would say that I know a lot of people who know absolutely nothing about buying stocks who want to buy the SpaceX stock. And I would say most people who do not know how when you buy a single company, it is like a tennis match with Serena Williams because the person on the other side, like right now at the IPO, the people on the other side who want to sell to you are Wall Street professionals, right? So you just want to buy because you're hearing about and the products are great. But what you're not maybe factoring in is that that great product is already priced into the price. So you could be buying high, and even if the company is great, because you're buying so high, the price could go down because there's so many people selling. Other ways that the price could go down is macro considerations, right? If the Wall Street prices go down in general, they're very lofty prices right now. That drags down even great companies. So I would say is that it is possible, especially we believe in hot industries, we believe in hot companies, but we like to put them in a fund so that we don't have to babysit the company as much. So with our Magnificent Seven, that's a Tech B ETF by iShares that's offered by iShares. It's very possible that SpaceX is going to end up there. ARTI is the Artificial Intelligence ETF by iShares. It's very possible that SpaceX will show up in there. So it is entirely possible, especially if you're following our strategy and using those two as a hot slice in your age-appropriate, properly diversified wealth plan, that you're going to own it anyway. So those are the things that I would say about the SpaceX IPO, but I strongly recommend that you read this entire blog. And if you are, a little bit a little bit savvy with financial language, then try reading the S-1 filings. So you can learn a little bit more. If you're not, then you can start learning. It's still going to feel probably very wieldy to you. So I'm going to go right into some of the questions that people emailed me. So here is the first question. And this one, again, these are lightning round questions, but the first question was about a couple of different newsletters. So she was wondering about Jeff Brown and also Weiss ratings. So again, I'm not going to go a deep dive into what I believe about these two, but here's where I start. So I would go Jeff Brown, and again, AI is great for this. What you really want to know, Brownstone research, is not just that. You want to know customer reviews. Let's start there. So that would be one search thing I would do. And then I would do AI mode and see, again, you're going to have to get past the sponsored results because those are all going to be sponsored by Jeff Brown. But here you have highly polarized. So you can see that there are numerous complaints and they're registered with the Better Business Bureau, and you can learn more about that. Sometimes you can also go to finra.org and do a broker check, right? You could try a firm name is Brownstone Research. I don't know. Again, I'm just doing this on the fly. So they don't have it here, but that does not mean that it's not relevant, right? Now, another thing, you can do that same thing here with Jeff Brown. And instead of just the Brownstone research, instead of customer reviews, we can also do a search that says, is there any SEC investigations or fines, right? So that's another thing that you want to know. So here we have, this is a different one, and it might not be the same Jeff Brown. It says here that this Jeff Brown has no SEC investigations, right? But here we also see that there is an FBI report about a Quad Wealth founder. So was Jeff Brown of Brownstone Research ever the Quad Wealth, right? And that's worth looking into. I'm not positive whether it's the case or not. So you could just ask AI to help you with that. Is Jeff Brown, Brownstone Research, also part of the Quad Wealth in, I believe, what year was that? 2011. Because that is something that happens, is that you'll find some of these newsletters, they'll get into trouble with the SEC. And what they do is here we go. Now, again, you're going to have to double check it, but it's saying here that Jeff Brown, associated with Brownstone Research, is the same person who controlled and operated Quad Wealth. So there, you are going to want to read that FBI.gov information on this particular person. And that does happen frequently, is that a newsletter, again, because they pay the fine. If they've made enough money, the fine could still be a small piece of the amount of money they made. And then sometimes they will go ahead and found a new entity. Sometimes they will be prevented from doing that, but there are loopholes, right? So you want to be aware of that. So there's one. Now let's look and do the same sort of thing for Weiss ratings. So again, we're going to go back here, and instead of Jeff Brown Brownstone Research customer reviews, we want to know what it is for Weiss ratings customer reviews. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this if I can, make it easy. And again, this took us 5 minutes, right? And look what we found. So Weiss Research customer reviews. And again, AI mode. So it's saying it has pretty good customer satisfaction. That's good. Negative reviews and warnings on the company's business model and performance, right? So they're saying aggressive marketing, lagging ratings, complex interface, and no refund policies. And those complaints have been with the Better Business Bureau. So now let's see if Weiss Ratings has any problems with the SEC or FBI. So let's do that. Weiss Research. We're going to go ahead and do SEC um, lawsuits, investigations, etc. And here we have unregistered solicitation. So, yeah, there are some things here that you want to be aware of. And look how far back it goes to 2006, right? They settled with the SEC for 6.9 million in 2022. Is it Boston based? So again, you want to double check and make sure that it is the exact same one and it's not just someone with a similar name. All right, so there's that one. And there was one other one. Let's take a look at the other quick question that came in. The other one that came in was this one and again, this is going to be a quick one, right? This person is paying $282 quarterly, so you have to times that by 4, so about 1,200 a year for 200,000 in life insurance. That sounds like a good deal. Accidental death, it takes it up to 400,000. My house, so blah, blah, blah. Should I continue to pay for it? The thing about life insurance is that it is like being a renter, in that if there comes a point where you can't pay for it, obviously you lose it, right? And people say, "Oh, I can buy it back," but the same financial straits that made you not be able to pay for it means that you might not be able to buy it back. Secondly, as you get older, the premiums tend to go up and the amount it tends to go down. Um, I really like the idea of compounding wealth. So if you thought about it, it's not a lot of money, but what happens if you instead put $1,000 to each, which this particular person has 2 kids, into their Roth IRA and taught them how to invest, right? So we know that with the compounding of the rule of 72, you know that you can double your money in a little over 7 years. And also, you're teaching them good financial wisdom, which can it's going to game change their life forever, right? So I think I have the rule of 72 here and the capture gains at an all-time high. Let's just see if I do or not. There it is, right? So the S&P 500 has actually performed far above that, right? So if you were, it would only take 3 years between 2023 and 2025 to double your money. So it's up to you, right? Like if you really feel like that's good for you, what I can say is super wealthy people, they don't buy insurance, they sell it. But if it gives you peace of mind to have that, then yes. But I would say think about the idea that potentially you could give that money in. Again, don't just give it to them, because if you haven't taught them financial literacy, then it's just going to get spent. But if you believe that this money could actually be enhancing the wealth of your kids' lives, and then you put it into Roth IRAs and you invest to get them financially literate so they can start using that rule of 72 to compound on there. I think that's money better spent, especially since you have a lot more money in there in case of death or accidental death, right? For them to inherit. I think the most important thing you could do, like people that inherit money and are not financially literate, they can blow through it in a couple of years. So I would say I would be thinking about wealth differently, like wealthy people do. And that is, let's make sure that our children understand how to earn money while they sleep, how to stop making everybody else rich, how to compound gains, all of these things that are going to help them to live a richer life now, be good stewards of the wealth that you have created when you are transitioning and they're now inheriting it. Obviously, that's a lightning round, but we can go deeper in your private coaching if you would like. And then the last question, and I'm going to be posting a blog on this, so I'm not going to go through all of this, but this particular person had watched a video of Warren Buffett that said dividend paying stocks, broad-based and income producing real estate, inflation protected securities, low housing costs, right? And they were saying, oh, well, this is Warren Buffett. And I said, didn't you notice that that was AI, right? And they were like, yeah, but it was taken from one of his university speeches. And I was like, well, did you know that he doesn't do commencement addresses? He only did one, and that particular one that he did has no mention of any of this. So be careful because there's a lot of deep fake AI Warren Buffett going around. A lot of the strategies that make sense on paper are actually going to get you dinged with paper losses. So again, I will be posting a blog that dives deeper into this, but be very, very, very careful because it's very easy. Many of us saw, that thing of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise doing, a fight sequence that was all AI generated. The AI is so sophisticated. There are telltale signs, but obviously this person didn't notice it was AI when I pointed it out. They got a little bit defensive, like, oh, well, it's based on this. I don't know where they were getting all this extra information that was actually based on something when it really wasn't. But just be careful because I have seen so many scams and so many people taken in by things like this. So again, thank you so much. I'm glad that we got this opportunity to dive deeper in the SpaceX IPO and questions. So just so you know, if you are one of our volunteers, then I welcome you. You can submit a question and I'm happy to answer it in these video conferences. It's a lightning round question, so for most people, it's going to be better to do the private coaching. But again, watch this video back if you're joining me late, and be sure that you are reading the SpaceX blog. And there it is right here. Again, this is going to be in the description section of this video, so you'll be able to watch it back. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you for the next video conference in June. Thanks again. Okay, so also I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that we are doing one more financial freedom retreat. It's going to be online June 5 through 7. And then the following Saturday, we're going to do getting ready for retirement with your first job. So a lot of people, as they get close to retirement, they're like, oh, how can I prepare for retirement? And they are doing all of these surveys like this and this and this and this. And the truth is, you really should start preparing for retirement with your first job because then maybe you don't have to get supplemental Medicare. So that's a bill you can toss out the window. So that's what this is all about, we should be living a rich life, stop making everybody else rich, setting ourselves up for golden years in retirement. And again, it can all start with our first job. And that is what that particular masterclass is going to be all about. So let me show you where you can learn more about both of those things. Go to nataliepace.com. You can learn more about the retreat right there. Just click on the retreat flyer. And then if you go to the menu, you can also go and check out our retirement masterclass, which is right there. So you can learn more about that, preparing with your first job. And then the final thing is that if you're willing to come into Santa Monica, I am going to have a financial freedom game on Sunday after that retirement masterclass. We'd love to have you June 14th at 4 p.m. in Santa Monica. Email info@nataliepace.com to learn directions how to get there. And you're not going to need to bring much, but a journal would be good and the financial freedom game sheet as well. And playing it on the beach with that expansive horizon and breathing in that beautiful air in a small group setting. I think if you look at the flyer, you're going to see, I mean, it really is a lovely small, I think I have some pictures. Yeah. So see how small group that it can be, right? Very small sometimes, not quite as small, but still powerful. And thanks again for helping me to be the person that is honored, absolutely honored, to bring you the news, information, education, wealth strategies, and sustainability strategies that hopefully are leading you to a rich life, a dream come true life. And anybody who'd like to join us at our Restormal retreat, there are 3 rooms available. So reach out, info@nataliepace.com, and thanks again.
One sunny day, hope